Prior to having kids or prior to your child becoming a toddler, did you ever see a mom at the store with her screaming tantrum child just throwing himself down, kicking, screaming, and think, oh my God, that's never going to be me. I'm not going to allow my child to act like that. I would never. So I was 19 when my oldest son was born. I was a young mom and he was very well behaved. I got comments all the time like, "Oh my God, he listens so well. How did you get him to listen so well at 2 years old?" And I also got a lot of compliments because he started like speaking like short little sentences at a year and a half, and by the time he was 2, he was having like full blown conversations. And I think his language skills was a big part of the reason that he was able to listen and be so well behaved because he understood a lot and he could communicate a lot and he didn't have that communication barrier that most children have at that age. So me as a young mom with a child who speaks extremely well and is extremely well behaved, getting all of these like positive comments, I'm like, I'm killing it. Like I'm a great mom. Like I am never gonna be that person. But the store one day, and I think he was like 2, and there's this little girl with her parents, and she has to be like 3 or 4. She's in the cart. She's just kicking, screaming, like she is not having it. And I was like, kind of looked at my husband like, oh man, like those parents letting their kid act like that. And I'm like, I'm never gonna let my child act like that. Like my children are all gonna be extremely well behaved. And then I had my second, and oh my goodness, this child, he wanted to test every limit he could test. As soon as he started being able to roll and maneuver himself and crawl and walk and stand, he was into everything. Our previous landlord had came to do like, an overall inspection of the house, make sure everything was in order. And she's like, in all the years I've done this, I have never seen a house that was so childproof. And I was like, that's because you haven't met my son. Because we had like locks and safety mechanisms on everything. Every cabinet had a lock on it. Every drawer had a lock on it. We had a lock on our stove. We had a lock on our fridge. We had a lock on like almost every door in the house other than the rooms that he was allowed to go in. We had baby gates. One of our baby gates he could crawl under. So we had to put like a board so that he couldn't crawl under the gate. Another gate we had, he crawled over. So we had to have something on the top of that so he couldn't get over it. He was a child that made me go from loving a trip to the store, getting out of the house, to having a complete anxiety attack prior to leaving the house because I knew when we got to the store, the moment he saw something and wanted it and was told no, that there would be a reaction. This wasn't from lack of communication. My son's turning on the lights. This wasn't from lack of communication. This wasn't from lack of discipline. This was just how it was going to be with him. And we would talk about it prior to going into the store, like, oh, today we can't get anything, or oh, you can pick out one thing, or whatever. There would be an in-depth conversation prior to leaving the house. When we got to the store, prior to getting out of the store, we got to the store and he saw something he wanted. Like this was a conversation that was consistently happening, but there was still a meltdown every single time. And now looking back, I'm just like, this is my consequence for being an overconfident, cocky mom and thinking that was never going to happen to me. Let me just clarify that my oldest is no angel either. It didn't take him long to start using his language skills and his innocence to his advantage. And he did eventually get into that tantrum stage. There were like days where he just cried and cried. His banana broke and he cried. I wouldn't go upstairs with him that I just came down from after spending hours in his room playing with him, and he cried. There were times where I told him he was tired and he cried. And clearly, my current toddler is no angel either. Over here, flipping the lights on and off, thinking he's hilarious. Point is, let's not judge mothers until we've been in their shoes.